Like I was saying, I'll show you a couple examples of coil pots before we get started, and then I'll show you the base. A lot of these traits or motions, if you will, you're going to use a ton of times during the year. So a quick reminder, make sure you're not on your phone so you don't lose those 10% on your grade, and know your earbuds in while I demo. And make sure you're in a place that you can see. So this is a good example of a coil pot from last year, and this is one from my sophomore year in high school. This one's a beast. They are kind of heavy because they're just thick naturally, and I'll show you how we roll these out. But again, a lot of these techniques or motions, as I called them earlier, you'll be using all year long. So first thing is to make sure your clay doesn't stick to the table. These aren't absolutely necessary, but some of you will take a long time to roll these out, and as the moisture sucks into the table, it'll be hard to get off the table. So you can use a canvas. You don't need to wait for a canvas, but just letting you know they're here. And then we're going to need some paint sticks. As you see in the comps, it says use 2 sticks on each side, which will give you about a 1/2 inch. Each stick is a 1/4 inch. If you don't like doing the math, 1/4 plus 1/4 is a 1/2. You can always just look at the comps and I'll give you the details. Actually, a little too much clay. I'm going to go ahead and ball that up in just a second, but I want to show you where the paint sticks are. And the rolling pins. I personally like the big ones, just because I think it gets more done quickly. And the paint sticks. I'm going to grab 2 for each side. This is what's going to get the thickness of my bottom. So I'm going to make the bottom of my coil pot first, then I'll start rolling out some coils. There are rulers on some of these paint sticks. Some of them don't have it, but don't get them confused with everyday school rulers. These are not the same thickness, so don't use them. You can use the paint sticks and paint sticks only. Some people will use these out of just not paying attention, and you're going to end up with a slanted bottom. It's going to be a little thinner on one side than the other. So be careful of that. And also the rulers are right here in the back, right? You'll see why in just a second. Actually, I need one. Because the bottom, as it says in the comps, the bottom of your piece must be 4 inches wide. I'm going to go ahead and roll this out, and you'll be doing this pretty much the majority of the year. So let me get this into a ball shape. Just like every other thing, I want to compress it. This is one where you'll really see how annoying an air pocket can be if you get an air pocket in there. Because as you roll it out flat, you'll just have one little piece that keeps burping up, and it'll be higher than the rest. In which case, you just take a needle tool, pop it in like 5 or 6 spots, and just slowly work from one side to another to get it out. But then it will be a thinner spot. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little CPR. You don't need to slam it on the tables. You don't need to pack it down. Just a little CPR action to get it a little closer to flat. I don't need this much clay. I'll save that for my coils. So again, a little CPR action. So you'll see when I roll this, it doesn't get any wider this way because I'm rolling along the paint sticks. It's going to get wider, or excuse me, longer this way. So I'm going to roll. See how that didn't get any wider at all? It just got longer. So I need to turn it this way. So it was this way, now I need to turn it to make sure it gets longer this way, because I need it to be round at the very least. Some of you will do square bottom, some of you will do triangles, stars, whatever it is you want to do. So again, 2 paint sticks. If I go down to 1 paint stick on each side, it's going to be a very thin bottom for a coil pot, and it's not going to be able to hold these heavy coils. Later on down the line, most of the stuff we'll make will be 1/4 inch, meaning 1 paint stick, but for now, this one needs to be kind of thick. So now I'm going to make sure that it's nice and flat. So when I roll across it, I shouldn't see any lines. So if I roll, see that line right there? I don't want that. It means it's not all the way down to the paint sticks. And I would highly recommend standing while you roll, okay? If you're sitting and you're down here, it's really hard to roll and it'll take forever. So now I have my bottom rolled out. I can move those to the side. I can put my rolling pin back if I wanted to. You really don't need the canvas. I'm just saying for some of you, you'll roll it out, it's gonna stick to the table. so you can use the canvas. Later on down the line we'll do bigger things, and I would highly recommend the canvas, but for now you don't really need it. So now the bottom needs to be a minimum of 4 inches wide. I happen to know this cup is a little more than 4 inches, but just in case, see, a little more than 4 inches. So I'm going to use that as my stencil. Now, a bunch of you are going to do round bottoms, that's fine, as long as you come up with something really creative. Some of you are going to do squares, literally just cut it out of a piece of paper. I'll show you where the paper is. Some of you will do little stars, any number of shapes to get those creativity and originality points. So I'm going to take my needle tool now, and I'm going to trace around it. Notice when I cut clay, if I cut with the needle tool up, see all those crusties I get? If I cut with the needle tool slanted, see how much cleaner the line is? Okay? So I'm going to try to cut with it slanted all the way around, and I don't want to dig underneath my cup because I want a nice flat wall. I'd rather be outside of this cup than underneath it. So I'm going to cut around. Again with it slanted. Around to the other side. Okay. So now it's got, I could just pull this up, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I do what's called just a little relief cut. Cut that off. Now I can use this clay for my coils. Okay. Got my base. Now I'm ready to start rolling some coils. Move this out of the way. So I'm going to roll fairly long coils, and again, this didn't stick to the table at all because I didn't take that much time. If I took too much time, then it would be a little sticky. See how when it gets wet, see little sticky spots. So when you roll your coils, get them kind of pre-made. Start like this. Kind of squeeze them out a little bit so that they don't have too many bumps. Then you're going to roll your hand parallel to the table, meaning in a straight line like this, not up and down and not super short. You want to go the full length of your hand. I'm going to roll this back and forth. You can use two hands if you're ambidextrous or coordinated with your left. And you're going to get these about a ½ inch thick, maybe a little less, maybe around a ¼ inch. So you can see how long this coil is. And I'll show you why I like the longer coils in just a second once I get it cleaned up. At least 11-inch coils usually. If you have to do short ones, that's fine, whatever gets you there. But the shorter ones will take you a lot longer. So they're about a ½ inch, maybe a little thinner than this. So a little bit thinner. A little less coordinated with my left hand than my right, but it still works. Okay, so about that thick. So only on the first coil do you need to score and slip it, and I'll show you why. So you take your needle tool, just score the outside here. For the sake of time, I'm going to use a serrated rib. Some of you will ask me, Smith, can I borrow your serrated rib? I don't have enough of them to give out. So it's not a tool that we absolutely need. It's about all it does. The needle tool does a lot, so that's why we use that. So now I'm going to score the bottom of my coil. And then I'll add some slip. A little crusty. I'm going to add a little bit of slip all the way around. Then I'm going to take my coil, and this is where I said that I would point out why it's nice to have a nice long coil. So it's easier just to go all the way around because it's nice and even. Lay that down. I'm going to break off a little piece right here. I'm going to kind of overlap it for now. So you can see if you had to do it in short chunks, like say, if you did little pieces like this, and then you added another one, it ends up uneven and it's a lot to tame later on, meaning it's harder to control. So now I'm going to take my smooth rib, And where it overlaps on both, I'm gonna just slice straight down. So I know that that coil will fit exactly together when I take those two chunks out. And I always match it to the edge. So I kind of like push it in or push the coil out, either way, just to match the very bottom. So keep it nice and straight. Okay, and I always blend where those two link together. I'll point out something really important in just a second. So now I'm ready for coil number 2. So this one that I already rolled out isn't gonna quite make it. We'll see if it does if I roll it out a little bit thinner, because it's still pretty thick. So one of the keys to a strong coil pot is to make sure that wherever you lined up your first coil, don't line it up there again until you're at least 4 or 5 coils up. And what I mean by that is this one was joined here. I don't want to join it there again. It'll become a weak spot because it's thin. So I want to make sure that I start it in a different spot. So I'm going to put this one somewhere in that range. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and cut this one. So this is where my 2 coils, my newest coils, are joined. I don't want them in the same spot as the last one. It creates a weak point. Oops. There we go. So this one, to save you a whole bunch of time, and hopefully you're paying attention to this detail, you do not need to score and slip this because later you're gonna blend it. So what you do need to do is take a sponge and a bucket of water. You can get those from up above the sink. You can always take these to your seat. But you're just gonna take it and moisten that first coil. Doesn't need to be sopping wet. As long as you see a little moisture on there, you're good. Then I'm going to add my second coil. Again, not in that same spot. And I'm going to pinch it to where it's kind of even with the first one. Okay, some of your coils will be a little bit off, a little janky. You want to pinch those to make them even, but don't thin them too much because the first 3 to 4 coils are crucial. They need to be kind of thick because later it's going to have a lot of weight sitting on top of it. So I'm going to cut that a little more. Put those together and I'm going to blend them. Kind of keep track of where those are going. If you blend them really, really well early on, you won't be able to see where they are, but I can see where my little finger marks are. So I've got my first 2 coils. Usually I wait till about 3 or 4 coils to blend, but you don't need to watch me do the same step over and over again. So I'll point out some crucial steps in this as well. So let me use my modeling tool, and I just blend up or down, whatever works best. And I'll blend and blend and blend. You're gonna blend the entire inside and the entire outside. You blend the inside? You blend the outside. Yes. So the modeling tool digs a little bit more clay. This may be a little bit more refined. So I'll take that and blend. By the end of my blending, after all is said and done and it's dried up a little bit closer to leather hard, I shouldn't have any of these lines at all. If you see one that's dug in, sometimes it's a matter of scraping across it with your smooth rim. Sometimes it's adding a little bit of clay in there and blending. Okay, so we got my first 2 layers. Like I said, I like to go 3 or 4 before I start blending just so I can do it all at once. It's just kind of a focused project. Right now I'm doing 2 just for the sake of time. If you get more than 4, a lot of my students can't reach anymore and they're like, Smith, how do I blend the bottom? In which case you gotta go in there with popsicle stick side, but it is kind of a challenge to get it. So every about 4 coils or so, you wanna make sure that you're blending. And then go up again, go up again, and make sure you bag these. Every year I get 1 or 2 people, period, who kind of leave it out a little bit, or don't bag it properly, and then they come in, they got 4 coils done in their bottom, and then it dries out on them. So be careful, make sure you bag these really well. Other things that I want to point out, let me roll a quick coil, is if you, move this out of the way, if you roll, like a lot of people will sit here and they'll roll in just their little area, like this. you're gonna end up with the famous little poop shape. So if you're rolling your coil and you get that little bump, 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 and it's going bump, 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 that means one of many things. The main thing is most people push too hard. They put too much weight or too much strength into it. I just use the weight of my hand and just go like this. So I got heavy arms and hands. Some of you will need a little extra oomph. I always do them standing. I cannot roll a coil to save my life if I'm seated, excuse me, there we go. I cannot roll coil seated. So I stand while I roll them. The other thing is some people just go too short. So they'll go like this, and their coil is too short, or their stride, excuse me, is too short. Full length of your hand. So some people just go like this, and you end up with this little flat thing. So when I roll it, it goes, hear that? Boom, 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 boom. So you don't want those. If they're semi-flat, that's okay. The more even your coil is in this, the easier this project is. Okay, the other thing I want to point out is you'll see on this bottle, it's not just a straight cylinder, right? So somehow, when this was made, someone managed to get it to go inward. How do we do that? Each coil is slightly shorter than the next. So this one, if I just put it like this, it would just keep going up. Now, if this coil was longer and out here, this would start to go out, right? If it starts to go out, you're getting less and less of a vertical form. This needs to be a vertical form on this one. No bowls. Over here, I get somebody who starts going out way wide, and they're like, Smith, I can't control it. That's so to go in or straight up. If you want to go straight up, just make it even to the last coil. If you want it to go in, just slightly scoot it inside the last coil. Does that make sense? So I'd scoot it in and I'd cut it a little short so it'd slowly start going in, and then when I blend this, it should slowly start tapering in. So I have a little Coke bottle over there. Hunter, will you grab that for me, the soda pop bottle? That one goes in and out and in and out, so they learned how to tame their coils. So if you start going out, 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 and you're not getting a whole lot of vertical or a lot of incline to it, then you know you need to kind of taper in your coils. And some of you will add this coil, and then when you blend, you kind of push it all back out. So just be careful. So this one's a really good example of going in and then out and then in and then out. So they started here with their 4-inch base, then they started going in, then they popped back out and then back up. So again, it just needs to be 8 inches tall. This one I think is right around 10 to 12. Yeah, so 11 1/4. So it doesn't need to be that tall. Just 8 inches is what you need to make it to. Then it's, I'll show you how to do the relief carving, and I'll do that probably like maybe a week from now after I let you build. The coil pot tends to be a long one. Stop it for